There are iconic moments in baseball that happen every year, but this shot of Willie Mays in the over-the-shoulder catch, one of the most iconic and enduring in all of Major League history. We remember him tonight, the Giants announcing that he passed away today peacefully at the age of 93. Jack, you just look at that image, and everybody who even knows a little something about baseball knows who that was, and maybe he was the only player that could have made that catch.
Just an incredible catch, and you talk about doing it in the 1954 World Series against Vic Wertz, and then not only the catch, Bob, but how he steadies himself, turns around, flings it back into the infield. He was as complete and as excitable and exuberant as a player as I've ever seen. I was fortunate that I became a baseball fan in about 1970, so I got to see Willie Mays toward the end of his career. Obviously, I got to see some of the old video of him, but you look at his numbers and his resume and how they stack up, and you could easily make the argument that he was the best player in baseball history.
It's amazing, too. He was quoted as saying that playing at Candlestick Park probably cost him 10 to 12 home runs a year, and he thought he legitimately could have made a run, and rightly so, at Babe Ruth's 714 at the time. But playing in San Francisco was a different animal.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, you talk about him, his defensive prowess. He could hit the ball to all fields. He was electric to watch. I know I wasn't even born when he was playing, but to see the highlights and to see the people that talked about him. I mean, Dusty Baker was my first manager in the big leagues, said he was his most favorite guy to watch. He was the best player ever and a true friend and comrade. He's just a really good guy. And unfortunately, I didn't get to meet him.
You almost did,
Almost did. Walked by the office while he was talking to Dusty.
Yeah.
I didn't want to interrupt him, but at the same time, Dusty told me after, he's like, why didn't you come in? I'm like, it's my first year playing. I didn't want to interrupt anybody. God rest his soul. May he rest in peace.
But, there's a reason you did that as you take a look at the historic numbers that Willie Mays put up in becoming the Hall of Fame inductee in 1979. And that's that it's not just any player. There's a respect and an intimidation when you meet those types of players, the Willie Mays, the Hank Aaron's, etc.
There was a mythic status about him. There was an iconic status about him. I'm fortunate to have a pretty interesting story of intersecting with Willie Mays. 2002 World Series, Giants against the Angels. It's obviously Barry Bonds' Giants team. He was Willie Mays' godson. So I turned the corner in one of the bowels of the stadium in Anaheim, and there was Willie Mays. And he's talking to a group of reporters, so I hustled over there. I was a reporter for the New York Times at the time. And Barry Bonds had hit 73 homers in 2001. He had almost 200 walks in 2002. He not only was the best player in baseball then, he was being talked about maybe the greatest player of all time. And now we're talking to his godfather, also one of the greatest players of all time. So, of course, I have to be the guy who said, is Barry Bonds the greatest player of all time? And Willie did not like that question. He said, you can say that if you want, but you're not going to get me to say that. Of course, I pestered and asked it another way. And he said, no matter how you twist this, I've been around a long time. I'm not going to give you the answer you want. We went back and forth a little bit, and then he wanted to have some fun with me. He said, who do you think's going to win the series? Well, since he was chiding me, I said, well, I think the Angels are going to win the series, because he obviously wanted the Giants to win. And he said, well, let's make a bet. I said, all right, I'll bet you dinner. And he patted his stomach, and he said, I don't really need any food. He said, what about this? If you win the bet, I'll give you my phone number. And I said, Willie, I already have your phone number. And I did. I had called him one time. I was able to secure his number from Arthur Richmond. I can give up the source now, who worked for the Yankees. But I wrote a column in the New York Times about that experience, and I'm smiling as I think about it now, because I get to tell people about the fun back and forth that I had with such an illustrious member of the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Baseball lore, the records, how he made people smile on and off the field. The guy, he did everything that you want your son or your kids to do as they grow up. Be a great baseball player, philanthropist, and do the things right. And he's always signing autographs, always looking to help some kid out. And, man, you always look up to a guy like that.
Yep, no doubt about that.